Hello everyone! Today, wait, that's energetic. Hey, psst! Someone told me you want to make a drawing. That's even worse. Hello everyone, I'm Tomo2 Arts and today we are going to draw Ado. Now this isn't for complete beginners. If you want more basic tutorials, please comment so I will know, because I don't have a lot of orders, so I will do whatever you want. I need to be. Disclaimer, I'm not a pro artist, so yeah, that's it. So, before I actually teach y'all how to draw, first we need to prepare ourselves for our misery. So the first step is actually, what do we want to draw? For our topic, we will choose Ado. She's a Japanese popular singer. You can choose anything and anyone. If you want to follow me, do the same. How do we draw the topic? Because there are a lot of different ways to make the same topic. You can draw a background, you can do a portrait, you can do a full body. So it's important we establish what specifically do we want to draw. A way to do that is actually here. I'll show you. We go to Pinterest. We go down, and we see if we have a picture we like. And if we like it, we can save it and open it. A lot of people say you don't need a reference, and that's true. You don't have to have a reference, but it's so extremely helpful, and there are basically no downsides to having one. I don't use a reference only when I can't find any to convey my idea. So if you can find one, use it. The final thing we want to make clear is what our style will be. Some people say you find your own style, blah blah blah. That's half true, because you can change your style. I specifically draw sometimes more realistic, sometimes less realistic, sometimes with more blending, sometimes with less blending. So make that clear before you start, so you won't have to fix everything later. And after we did that, it's time to draw the sketch. When we start a new project, we want to first decide the dimension of our canvas. I chose dimensions of basically an Instagram portrait, because that's where I post my art. And how big? As much as you can without having lags. There are no downsides to having a bigger canvas unless it causes you lags. We have our canvas. What do we do now? The first thing we want is, that's my thing, not everyone does that, but I find it extremely helpful. Draw the dimensions. Where do you want to draw? What do you want to draw? Because you don't want to later have difficulties with it. You have so much things to think of. So let's make this step easier. So what I will do is just draw some simple lines to convey the direction and size of each thing. So as you can see, let's draw one line for the head. I will make a line where the jawline is, and then another line to convey where the torso will be and where the shoulder line will be. After we did that, we want to start drawing the face. I won't teach you everything how to draw the head, because it will take a lot of time. If you want a tutorial, please comment so I will know. And you can also search up on YouTube. There are a lot of tutorials from artists that are much better than me. But here's the basics. First, we want to draw a circle that will be the cranium of our face. And after the circle, we want to draw a line that will convey what direction the face is. After that, we want to draw a center line which will tell us where the middle of the face is. Right here specifically, the head points straight towards us, so the line will be exactly in the middle. Now, as you can see, I add more lines. Those are the proportions of the face. If you don't know the rule of thirds, 1/3 from the chin to the start of the nose, from the start of the nose to the eyebrows, and from the eyebrows to the hairline. And after that, I will just cut out the circle, so it will be the portions of the face, and make a jawline. The jawline varies from character to character. These are the perfect proportions, but even I will change those proportions later. But for now, it's a good start. And then I'll draw a basic chin. Again, we will erase everything. It doesn't need to be perfect, just so we can convey the shape. Now, I will add the neck. The neck, the length and the thickness changes from character to character. Here I want a relatively thin neck because we draw a female, and it's also stylized, so the neck will be even smaller. Then we draw small traps and a circle for the shoulders. Again, very basic. We will improve and change everything later. And after we did that sketch, I will create a new layer and make it a little more simpler so we can read what we actually want to have. It's also important to organize your layers. I'm super bad at it. I actually never organize my layers correctly. As you can see, I make the lines now clearer. Here we have our basic face, and it's time to add the facial features. So the nose I will do for now only those 2 lines. Later we will improve that. And for the eyes are actually in stylized character. That's what gives your character the most individuality. So that's very important. Basic information, the eyes are about 1 eye apart from each other. But that again changes heavily based on the character. But again, I'm 100% sure I will change it later. That's what we, especially when you draw original characters, because I draw in my own style. So I don't have a direct reference to see what the end result will be like. So I always erase, I always liquefine, and you should too. Don't be afraid of erasing, because that's how you create. So now let's just add the lips. For her I want relatively small lips because it's a stylized character. So as you can see, I do a lot of changes all the time, because again, like I said, you will change everything, and that's okay. Now the hair, I want basic Ado hair. The reference helps us, but I want different hair because it's Ado, it's not the reference. So I have to put my imagination to the test in here. Okay, so that's the final sketch. Okay, after we did everything, we will start to actually color. So first put a general color for the background. If you have a complex background, I recommend to start it first, even though it will take more time since you will cover some parts of it. Making the background first will give you the feeling of what the character should look like, and also the background affects the color of the character, especially light. So if I have a complex background, I always make it first. Here we don't have one. I will make a simple background. I will just pour the general color because to again fill the atmosphere, and then we'll start to paint. The first step of painting is always to put the base colors. You don't need to make it complicated, don't blend anything, just put the colors. For the brush, choose the simplest one you have, because you don't need anything special. You see, this is a default round brush. For the hair, as you can see, I have a bristle brush. It's just easy, very easy to control, and it makes hair textures very easily. You might think, hey, why is the shadow blue, right? The light is white. Why is the shadow blue? Well, that's because the shadow is highly affected by the environment you are in. If you will look outside on the day, what color is the shadow? It's blue. Yeah, because the sky. And here is the thing. Our background is blue, so the shadow will be same color. On the side of the jawline, we will actually make a darker color, because it's near the hair, so it receives even less light. It will be even darker. For the lips, some don't think about how 3D the lips is, right? They are basically 2 cylinders smooched together. Now for the neck is even darker based on the reference, and it makes sense because yeah. And I just again add darker color to the sides, add highlights where I see in the reference. Okay, so for the dress itself, we don't want to actually add details even on the later stages. Why? Because it won't be the focus of our viewers. They will look on the face and that's it. So they won't look on the dress, so you don't need to pay attention to it. It will waste your time and for no reason. It's actually the opposite. If you make specific areas have more details, the viewer will naturally look at them more. So if we make everything the same quality, can actually distract the viewer a bit. Uh-oh, what this? Why the armpits have this color? The light bounces between the arm and the skin and makes this darker color. You might wonder why I add different variations of color in the skin here, and that's because the body isn't flat, right? It's made of a bunch of spheres and shapes. So the sides that point more towards the light or don't have anything that blocks them from the light will be lighter and less pink. So for example, the shoulder will be darker because the shoulder is kind of a circle, so the sides that point towards the dark will be darker. On the chest, the side that points up will receive more light because nothing blocks it. So it's better if you have a reference, and if not, you can just look at 3D models or learn anatomy. Well, you need to anyway, but yeah. Now let's look at the eyes. As you can see, the eye is basically a bow, so we need to shade it like a bow, which means the sides of the bow will receive less light and therefore will be a lot darker. Yes, here again I will add the eyelashes as well. We can make it simple for only a single line. A lot of beginners will actually draw every eyelash one by one, and you shouldn't do that because it only look weird unless you are very skilled, and it will take so much time for no reason. Now, what is this color? What do you think is this color? What do we add it? We add it because light reflects. Specifically here, light from the nose comes from the body. The light from the chest reflects up and hits the nose here. Wait, why did you add a red line? It doesn't make sense. Why red in all places? Well, that's because of a few reasons. The first reason, it's called subsurface scattering. The skin, it's a bit transparent, so when light hits the skin, it goes in and returns back. When it returns back, it takes the color of the skin, so it becomes red. But second is actually color theory. Red is the opposite color for blue, so adding red in specific areas will make it pop and make it look nice. I added some variation because the skin will be a bit darker then. And now for the hair is very reflective, so I will add some basic highlights. Again, we don't go to the details yet, okay? That's only the basic. We didn't smudge anything yet. We want to add color where the light hits very direct. Then I add darker colors where I think less light hits, and I try to also keep it simple and add some texture so it will look like hair. On the chin, again, more reflected light. It's very hard to know based on your imagination where reflected light is, so again, it's best to have a reference. So I did a lot of small changes, but I can't talk about each one because most of them are not noticeable, and secondly, this will make this video an hour long. We are starting to render. Yeah, let's go. For that, we will take our trusty smudge brush. And what does it do? It smudges things. For the shadows, we want to blend the areas between the transitions because they will be soft. On the reference, you can't notice them because they happen gradually, so we want to make the same. Of course, depending on your style, sometimes I don't do that if I want a more rough style, but here I chose to do that. Here it's a soft shadow, so we want to blend it, but it's not on all areas. Sometimes we don't want to blend or blend lightly. Like here in the lips, I will only blend at about 30% strength because we do want to keep the form here. As you can see on the reference, it's almost basically a line. The dress specifically is very soft. We don't want the hard shadows, so let's blend everything 100% opacity. And then I added some smaller forms to make the shape more easily readable. As you can see, I didn't blend this side at all because the dress itself blocks it. And now I see that I don't like this color. It's a bit too light. It has too much saturation for a shadow, so I just add a darker color, add with on a new layer, of course, and I choose the blending mode that I think looks best. There are a few: addition, color, overlay, and multiply. All of them do slightly different things, so just experiment and do which one works for you. I always choose a different one based on the outcome. Smudge here on the eyeballs as well because it's a ball. They have very soft transitions. In the neck as well, again, sphere, soft transitions. Now I think we are on a good time to make the iris. Let's start with a dark color and add a very light color below, and then I add a transition color and the actual pupil, which will be a diamond because it's adult. Let's blend the colors and add a reflecting thing. Basically, when your eye looks at things, they reflect from it. You can imagine that there isn't really a thing in the reference that will make it look like that, but it looks pretty, so who cares? And just like that, look. It was so simple, yet it looks so good. For the hair, I tried to make it look more like hair, which means adding more texture, blending the colors. It's not really science, you know. Here I added a different color because different hair strands affect on each other. So these specific hair strands to make a shadow on the hair below it. Again, I'm not following any reference, I'm doing what I think will look good and erase if I don't like it. I personally find Sam Does Art's approach way better because a lot of people very overcomplicate hair and make it super detailed and it looks very pretty, but I don't like to do it. The simpler the better, so I simplify the hair as much as possible. And again, now add more details, I change a lot of things, but we are basically done. Almost no one will notice the changes I make from here. And that's, how do you know if you finished the drawing? That's when the stuff you add don't really improve the drawing itself. But the motive didn't show me. If I would have shown you every single step, this would take 8 hours and I don't have time to edit all of this. So if you want something specifically, please comment below. Yeah, thanks all of you for watching. If you love this video, please follow, give a like, hit the bell, give me money.